So just as we begin, for those of you that are new to the platform, I'm sure all of you have been using Zoom. I mean, this is kind of the new way, and it's actually so amazing that we all together in our own sacred space. I mean, it's like, you know, your space that you've created where you reside, and we all in our own sacred space, but together. So just to be sure that you are eventually going onto speaker view, which is in the right-hand top corner. For those of you that are, you know, kind of newish to Zoom, but I'm assuming most of you are proficient in Zoom, but it's good to be in speaker view so that you not distracting each other, and so that my image is also bigger so that it's much easier for you to follow the class. And then, you know, we all kind of in different spaces at different times. So please honor your own body, where you are today, specifically in your body. And that counts for every single practice. And, you know, we've all got little niggles here and there, and just take care of yourself and practice in a way that nourishes you. So some days you're going to have more energy, some days a little bit less, and just honoring that. I will give modifications as we go along, but if for some reason I haven't given a modification that suits your body, please, again, feel free to unmute yourself and just ask me, or you can, a lot of you, I think most of you have done yoga for quite some time, so you can also modify according to your own intuition. And then, yeah, so basically, I think most of you read the theme for this week, you either on Facebook or on the group. And, you know, it's so interesting. I don't know about you guys, but, you know, each time I think like, you know, now I've like arrived, like I've really got the vibe going and I'm like on top of it and everything's flowing like nice and smoothly, and I'm in the sattvic state and I'm feeling super balanced, then it goes out again. And I'm just, you know, like yoga cosmology reminds us that we part of nature. You know, there's no escaping the fact that our bodies and our minds are part of nature, and the operating principles of nature in Samkhya philosophy, which is what yoga is based on, it goes according to the gunas. So the gunas are these threads, these operating principles of nature that constantly fluctuate. And there are three of them. And the first one is rajas. So rajas is really, you know, this creative energy, the energy of creation, but also the energy of action. And you know, it kind of gets fired up. And healthy rajas is good because we need to progress with our lives and we need to move forward in this three-dimensional world. But then, you know, we could get so overstimulated or so over-inspired that we become almost like nervous or, you know, kind of stressed out. So that's not you know, we want to find balance with that. And then sattva is the energy of preservation, which is this balanced energy. And obviously, you know, practicing yoga, we constantly kind of trying to go more towards this balanced state. And then tamas is the energy of inertia. And that's also, you know, that more grounding energy. And it also has a place because we also need to take rest so that we can create again. So all of these energies have their place and they all kind of work together. And it's almost like a cosmic game of rock, paper, scissors. Okay. One of them always goes on top. And sometimes it lasts for a longer period of time. And sometimes it goes up and down quite rapidly in one day even. So, you know, today, just observing these different tendencies in the body and in the mind. And, you know, I sometimes, I don't know about you guys, you know, we've all got our preference, and I like being in a sattvic state. I think that's why we're all doing yoga. So I'm sure most of you can relate to that. And then I quite like a little bit of rajas, you know, like a little bit of creative energy. And I get attached to those states of being. And I think to a certain degree, we all do get attached to certain junctures of these movements. But instead of just getting attached to those states, can we allow all of them, because they're all going to come up. And so, beyond the operating principles of nature, of prakriti, of this potential of life, there is purusa, which is pure consciousness. And that really, in the simplest form, is our soul. And that observing presence is really what can witness the changing of the gunas, and it's completely unaffected by the changing of the gunas. So that part of us doesn't really become attached to any of the states of being, but it simply curiously observes all of it and allows all of it. And it's really, that's the only way that we can allow it, if we just observing it equanimously, which of course is not always possible, because our minds want to grasp, but also witnessing that, because that would be a rajasic thing, or we ignore it, which would be more tamasic. So we're going to start in a way that you can really start tuning in to where your body and your mind is in this moment. And as we continue with the practice, also seeing how your body and your mind respond. So if you find that there's a lot of rajas coming up, can you balance it with a little bit of tamas? And if, going towards that more equanimous state, but also not getting attached to that, and allowing, all of the other states to come as they do. So that's a little bit of background about what we're going to work with. And we're going to start today a little bit more unusually, standing against the wall. So give space for your buttocks, okay? Because, some of us have bigger buttocks than others, but you want to try and stand as close to the wall as possible, but giving your buttocks some space, feet together, and your toes spread wide out to the side. So we'll just start standing in Tadasana. So this is actually how we're going to begin our practice. And then, once you found yourself at the wall, just drawing your arms beside your body and just fully standing upright. If you have a ponytail or anything in the back of your head, then just taking it out so that you can have the back of your head against the wall also. Yeah, that's it. And your heels as close to the wall as possible, but of course giving your buttocks some space also. And then once you are settled with your back against the wall, or whatever surface you've got there, or if you kind of don't have a space that you can lean into, maybe it's glass or whatever, just that feeling of something steady behind you, then bend your knees and let your upper buttock area slide down the wall. So it's like a kind of a Utkatasana. And then keeping your upper buttock area descending down as you straighten your legs once again. Legs together, feet together. Bring your palms of your hands together at your heart. Elbows drawing slightly back and down. And then very softly, let your eyes close. So as you close your eyes, just bringing your attention inward and bringing your attention downward to the foundation of your posture, rooting equally into the big toe ball mound, the little toe ball mound, the inside and the outsides of your heels. Draw up your knees and your thighs, and draw up the front and the backs of your thighs equally. And then internally, a lot of you know about this instruction, but those of you new, just visualizing, you're going to draw your tailbone towards your pubic bone and pubic bone back towards your tailbone. And what that does, see if you can feel it for yourself, is that it connects you to your pelvic floor. And then lifting up your spine from the pelvic floor to the base of your skull, that occipital area. And then bring your shoulder, the middle edges of your shoulder blades into your back so that you lift and open your chest. And keep your palms of your hands connected towards each other, but see, can you bring the outer edges of your shoulder blades into the wall? Relax the tops of your shoulders down your back, away from your neck. Soften your throat. Relax your jaw, relax your tongue. If your eyes are not closed yet, then just very gently let your top eyelid soften onto your bottom eyelid. Let the skin of your forehead soften to your heart. And the crown of your head just very gently ease upward to the sky and balance above your pelvic floor. And within this posture that you've created, now allowing your breath to flow with absolute ease in and out of the passages of your nostrils. And just begin to notice how you're feeling. So there's absolutely no right or wrong way to feel. You just want to become aware. Is it more rajasic, more tamasic? Are you feeling sattvic? Are there areas of your body that are more rajasic or tamasic? Are there areas of your body that are feeling absolutely balanced in sattva? Just scanning, feeling, observing. How's the mind feeling? How's the breath feeling? It's just like observing this present moment moving through you. It's really just this experience moving through you. And then we'll open with one chant of Om. Exhale completely. Inhale deeply. Take a moment to bow your head to your heart and make your own inner acknowledgements. And then gently release your arms, softly let your eyes open and raise your head up. And then from there, just come a little closer to your camera to observe the sequence we're going to do on the floor. So it's quite important that you see the subtle nuances of it. So one of your blocks, morning Lindy, one of your blocks are going to go a little bit away from the wall. Those of you with wooden blocks, it might need to be further away. And then everybody take your belt or your scarf and make a loop in it that is from your armpit to your armpit. So that size, your inner armpit to your inner armpit. And then once you've made your belt, you'll just put it down and you've got your block at the wall and it's just about a little bit away from the wall. And once you've set that up, then come to have a look. So when I place my feet against the wall, it's going to be the balls of the feet that touch the wall and the toes are going to pull out to the side onto the wall. So that area of the foot is going to be against the wall. So, and we're going to start in Trikonasana. So heels together, balls of the feet together. Just observe the whole sequence before you go back to your space. So like that, and sitting as close as you can to your block. And then from there, lying down. And for a moment, you'll grab your mat and pull it down towards your feet so that you get that sliding of the upper buttocks down. We'll stay here for some time. Then you're going to take your belt and bring it around your wrists like this. with the tail to one side. And we'll take the arms up and over. And then after some time, you'll bring the legs together. Next part, you'll kick the block out to one side. Your other block you're going to have close by. We're going to start with the right leg, but I'm going to demonstrate with my left. You're going to slide a little bit away from the wall, knees bent slightly, feet completely against the wall, and then again pushing your, as you straighten your legs, you're going to draw your upper buttocks to the wall, hugging the knee to the chest, then taking your belt, and you can make this loop as large as you need to now to be able to get a double loop around the ball of the foot, or use your scarf, drawing the leg closer to you. Then after some time, you're going to take your block to the outer edge of that hip and bringing the leg out to the side. So that's to support the femur bone. We'll do both sides. And then the final posture here is Jatara Parivritasana, bringing the buttocks to one side and hovering the knees across. Okay, so I just want you to have a visual because you're going to be lying onto the floor. So come back to your mat. You've got your belt set up. Your one block is just slightly to your right side, and the other block is against the wall, a little bit away from the wall, so that you can bring the outer edges, the little toe side of your feet onto the block, the balls of the feet onto the wall, and your toes stretch out into the wall. And sit as close to your block as possible in Trikonasana with your knees out to the side. And then when you're ready, drop back onto your forearms and then come to lie down and hold onto your sticky mat once you land. Pull your sticky mat towards the wall so that you get that sliding of your upper buttock area to the wall. And then the landing there. Make sure your belt is close by. Just arriving now, and again, just continue to observe for today how your body's feeling, how your mind is feeling. So everybody take your belt or your scarf and bring it around your wrists. So the outer area of the wrists. And have a loop to one side. And now reach your arms up first, just above your gaze, where you can see your arms. And we're going to take two opposing actions. One is pulling the belt out to the side. So your forearms are moving out. And the other action is hugging your outer arms in. We worked with that extensively the last few weeks. So your forearms are going out, your outer upper arms are hugging in. And now take your arms up and over your head, so that your arms can be beside your ears, and stretch into your fingers and push into the toes, into the wall, and stretch your fingers away from the wall. Palms of your hands facing each other. That's it, yeah. And now hit the forearms out and hug your outer upper arms in. So really strongly working with the arms. So you should get a strong action in the shoulders as you pull your wrists out to the side and hug your outer upper arms in. So that belt or that scarf, maybe a tiny little bit narrower than the shoulders, but not too much, so that you've got maneuverability. And just feel as you push your balls of your feet and your toes into the wall and you stretch into your fingers, that organic lift. So from the pelvic floor, the organs lifting up, opening that inner space. Notice your breath. And then from there, bring your arms back. Release the belt. Take your hands to the outsides of your thighs and guide your knees together. Kick that block to one side and have another block on your right side, close by. So you're going to have that for in a moment. But first slide your body away from the wall, not all the way, but just until your knees are ever so slightly bent. And then flatten your feet against the wall so that your whole sole of your foot is against the wall. So, and then the knees are slightly bent so that as you now straighten your legs, you get that upper buttock area to descend down towards your feet. And make sure your feet are completely grounded onto the wall. Then from there, keep your left leg fully rooted and hug your right knee into your chest. Take the belt or the scarf around the ball of your right foot, or for those of you with open hamstrings, you're welcome to just hold onto the foot with your hands, with both hands. And once you've settled here and you've got your belt or your scarf or your hands around your foot, begin to draw that right foot towards your upper body, but keeping the right leg absolutely straight. So that's the first priority. Make sure that your arms are straight. So you're holding as close to your foot as possible, but at the same time, keeping your upper arms connected into your shoulder socket. So you're not pulling your arms out of your body. You're keeping the upper arms connected, outer shoulder blades into the earth. And then working with the legs, front thigh to back thigh. Just breathing into that right hamstring, giving it some time and space. Yeah, very nice. Now, check that your block is on the outside of that right hip, tiny little bit angled down towards the foot end of your mat. So that block is going to help keep the right femur into the hip socket. Take both loops of your belt or your foot into your right hand, and then take your left arm out in line with your left shoulder. Keep rooting that left foot into the wall. You can always adjust if you need to. And then take your right leg out to the right side. Stretch into your heels. Front thighs to back thighs. So your legs are active. And again, you want that block to be in such a way that it's keeping your right femur bone into your hip socket, but it's not restricting your movement. And really, it's to keep the sacrum level so that the left side of your sacrum can also root. And also with pressing that left heel into the wall, you've got that left leg active. Keep your head in neutral. And now here comes one of the actions that we're going to work with in Trikonasana. Essentially, you're doing Trikonasana on the floor now. We worked with a lot of Trikonasana actions last week. But here now, externally rotate that right femur bone so that the outer right thigh rolls towards your left inner thigh. That gives you a little bit more space in the right side body. For most of us, what happens in Trikonasana as well is that the right side body begins to contract a little bit. So the other action here to open it up is bring your left side ribs into your body to open up the right side ribs so that you've got space there. And that is what you want to work with in your Trikonasana as well. We're just slowly getting some of the actions here. And then bring that right leg back up. Take the belt with both your hands. Straighten out that right leg fully. And then remove your belt and hug your right knee into your chest. And then bring your right foot next to your left foot against the wall. So again, if you lost your heels against the wall, just you bend your knees a little bit. And then again, just that sliding of the upper buttocks away from the wall. Make sure your right foot is secure. Your block can go to your left side now. And then hug your left knee in towards your chest. And then take hold of your left foot with your hands or bring your belt or your scarf around the ball of your left foot and straighten that left leg up. So both legs active as you stretch them, drawing that left foot towards your upper body. But firstly, making sure that that left leg is absolutely straight. So that's your first priority. And you get the legs to activate and straighten by moving the fronts of your thighs to the backs of your thighs. Check that you holding as close to the foot as possible, but the upper arms are still connected into the shoulder sockets. Your collarbones wide, your throat soft. And then from there, bringing the block now to the outer edge of that left thigh, slightly angled down. And then take both loops into your left hand, bring your right arm out in line with your right shoulder, and now taking the leg out to the side. So again, that block must not be restrictive, but it's simply there to remind you to keep your left femur bone into the hip socket. So sometimes in yoga, what we do is we stretch out of the joints, and just to get that containment. And then what it also does is it's helping you to keep the right side of the sacrum level and rooted down. Otherwise, it becomes light and that hip lifts up. Root through your right foot into the wall. Both legs active and straight. Head in neutral. And now again, working with the actions of Trikonasana, so that outer left thigh, roll it towards your right inner thigh, so that you get that hip to move down slightly and create more space in the left side body. And then bring your right ribs into your body to open up your left side ribs. So again, remembering that action when we go into Trikonasana. So it's just here concentrating, in a simple form of the posture so that the body gets the actions. And then when we in the standing pose, you can make the connections. Bring your left leg back up. Take the foot with both your hands. Draw that left leg towards you once more. Remove your belt. Hug your knee into your chest. And then straighten that left leg so both feet come to the wall for a moment. From here, make sure your blocks are out the way. You can take that block on your side just above your head. So it's out of your way. Bend your knees, step your feet onto the floor. Bring your arms out in a T shape beside your shoulders. Your feet are flat on the floor right now. And then stand into your feet and sit your buttocks over to your right side. So you hike your hips to your right, bring your knees towards your chest, and then hover your knees over towards your left elbow, high up and over. So we worked with this action in Trikonasana quite a lot last week. Both hip bones must go over to your left side. To your left side, and draw that outer left hip down towards the foot end of your mat. Everybody's going to different directions. Okay, so whatever direction your knees are going into, that is the direction of your hip bones, and the bottom hip of that side needs to draw towards the foot end of your mat. But turn your abdomen and your chest in the opposite direction. Opposite direction to the knees. And then from there, bring your knees back to your chest, step your feet onto the floor, level your sacrum. And everybody was going to different sides. So now, whichever side you haven't done, you're going to sit your buttocks to the opposite side, and then bring your knees to your chest, and then hover your knees over to the side that you haven't done yet. And once your knees go over to that side, you're hovering towards the elbow on that side, high up and over. And then draw that hip, that bottom hip of that side down towards the foot end of your mat, and try to aim both of your frontal hip bones in the directions where the knees are going. Keep your head in neutral and move your abdomen and your chest in the opposite direction. So the bottom half of your body is twisting in one direction, and the top half of your body is twisting in the opposite direction. And then bring your knees back to your chest. Step your feet onto the earth, level your sacrum. And then reach one of your arms up and roll your body to the side and come and stand up. So all of you are familiar with Trikonasana, so I'm not going to demonstrate, but let's try stay to the same side. So everybody bring your left foot, your outer edge of your left foot to the wall, and step your right foot into the center of the room. So your right heel in line with the inner arch of your left foot, and then standing upright, and now bend your left elbow, and then make sure that your hip bones are facing towards that right leg. Your abdomen and your chest are drawing towards your left hand. We worked with this quite a lot last week. And then reach your right arm out. And then from there, root down through the outer edge of your left foot against the wall. Let your hips travel to your right leg as you bring your right hand down onto the shin, wherever it reaches, and your left arm reaches up to the sky. And then keep your frontal hip bones moving towards your right leg, and turn your abdomen and your chest up towards your left arm. So see if you can keep those actions. And because you've got your outer edge of your left foot against the wall and you're rooting into that outer edge of the foot, in fact, you can stay in this pose a very long time. So some of you need to adjust a little bit more. Let both hip bones, like headlights, shine over your right leg, but turn your abdomen and your chest up towards that left arm. And then inhale, slowly come up, bum cramp, Jill. Square your feet to the side. And now we're going to change sides. So again, we'll stick to the same side. Outer edge of your right foot against the wall. Step your left foot into the room. The left heel in line with the inner arch of your right foot. Your right elbow bent, your hand onto the wall. So again, this is the biggest thing that we all do in Trikonasana is keep the hips square. And in fact, it's not so great for the hips. So hip bones are facing towards that left leg. You're doing a twist, abdomen and chest moving towards that right arm. And reach your left arm out to the side. Let your hip bones travel with that left arm as it goes down over the left leg. Right arm reaches up to the sky. Abdomen and chest and your gaze turn it up towards that right arm. But your two frontal hip bones like two headlights shining over that left leg. So very important action, so that there is an external rotation on that left femur bone. Craig, a little bit more the hip bones over your left leg, and then abdomen and chest going up. Rooting through that outer edge of your right foot. So that back leg is your stability, and then you can really stay for quite a long time. Jill, lean slightly back. Yeah, that's it. Yes. And now inhale, reach into your top arm, everybody. Come up, square your feet. We're just going to repeat that once more so you can really integrate. And then we're going to work with that side body length. So now once again, your outer edge of your left foot against the wall. Step your right foot out. Heel in line with the inner arch. left elbow bent, right arm over that right leg. So I know this is an unusual action for most people because we've been doing it for such a long time in a different way. But let your hip bones travel towards that right leg. But turn your abdomen and your chest towards that left arm. Your hips eventually will really thank you for this. And then exhale, bring your right hand down onto your shin. Left arm stacks above your right arm, reaching it up to the sky. So your hip bones are facing over that right leg, your abdomen, your chest moving up towards the left arm. And now bring your left side ribs, dig them into your body so that you can open up the right side ribs. That's another thing that we do, is where we shorten. And just explore the pose. So it's familiar to all of you, but you might be doing it in a slightly different way than what you normally used to. So release a little bit more the left side ribs in, the right side ribs long. So you want to lengthen the right side of the body a bit more. That's it. Tops of the shoulders, everybody release away from your neck. Become light. And then inhale, reach that left arm up, come up, square your feet. And now other side. So outer edge of your right foot against the wall, left foot into the room, left heel in line with the inner arch of your right foot. Right elbow bent, a hand against the wall, left arm out. So dare to turn your hip bones to that left leg. It's like you're going to do a twist. Your lower half of your body is following the left leg. Your chest and your abdomen is following your right arm. And then coming into Trikonasana. Left hand down, right arm stacked above your left arm. Your arms are in one straight line, collarbones open. So keeping the frontal hip bones facing over that left leg, like two headlights shining on the leg, but turning the abdomen and the chest up towards that right arm. Now bring your right side ribs slightly into your body. So you want to bring the one side in so that the left side can open up. Because for most of us, we shorten on that left side. And then breathing in it so you can explore in your own space where you need to activate a little more, where you need to open a little more. Relax the tops of your shoulders. Very nice. And then inhale, come up, square the outer edges of your feet. And then for a moment, just facing the camera. So we're going to work with some Adho Mukha Svanasana action. And a lot of you know these actions, but inner upper arms rolling up and out, outer upper arms rolling down. And then it's the same action of hugging the outer upper arms in. So this area, inner upper arms rolling out, outer upper arms rolling down. So we're going to do dog stretch against the wall with the hands about hip distance, like a little bit higher than your hips, but turned out slightly so that the area between your thumb and your index finger facing up. And then heels round about below your hips. So we'll start first with dropping the chest and then getting the tailbone, pubic bone action so that you come back into place. And then we'll work with some arm actions. So come and stand facing your wall and bring your, I forgot about this for those of you, I'm hoping that you've got enough space. Your hands above your hips. We're only doing one of these. Thumb and index finger, look at that area between the thumb and index finger and face that up. And then push your hands into the wall and walk away from the wall. Outer edges of your feet in alignment, your heels directly underneath your hips. So it's kind of like a downward facing dog with your hands on the wall, higher up. Nice shoulder opener. Bring your hands slightly wider than your shoulders because that can also give you a bit more action to open up. And now for a moment, drop your chest all the way down to the floor. So you arch your back essentially, okay? You want to keep that same action in the openness of the chest, But now draw your tailbone to your pubic bone and draw your pubic bone to your tailbone. So you connect your pelvic floor. That's it. Yeah, beautiful. So that you come into balance and you're containing your pelvis, because for all balancing postures, it's a very important action. Now draw up your knees and your thighs. So your legs are strong and they're holding space for you. And then push the wall away from you with your hands, and especially root down through the thumb and index finger side of your hands. So the forearms are slightly moving towards the thumb and index finger side of the hand. So there's a slight internal rotation. Your upper arms are externally rotating. So that action of rolling the inner upper arms up and out, outer upper arms, in this case, rolling down to the floor, and hug those outer upper arms in towards each other. And you should feel your shoulder blades stick onto your back. Nice heat coming in the shoulders. Shoulder blades into your back, but keep that tailbone, pubic bone connection. And then move the collarbones open forward. Move the crown of your head forward. Lift your head slightly, Ruth. Lift your head a little. Yes, that's it, yeah. Nice spacious breaths. Still exploring with each pose what guna is coming up. And then from there, walk your feet back towards the wall and come up to standing. And take your belt, and again, let the loop be the size of your armpit to your armpit. So your inner armpit. Outer edges of your feet square. You can just stand facing the camera. And then take your belt, your loop again around your wrists. Palms of your hands facing each other. And let the tail of your loop be on one side. So it's not going to interfere in your face. And then again, pull your forearms out. This is a very important action in your arm balances. And hug your outer upper arms in. So feel immediately how you plug back into your shoulders, which is a very important action to find the stability. It's like stabilizing. And then bring your arms up and over your head. So your forearms are hitting out. Your outer upper arms are hugging in. So that is going that way, outer upper arms hugging in. And that action should make your shoulders feel quite a lot of heat. And now check in with your lower body that you've still got this connection. Most of you know it, but for those of you that don't know, your tailbone coiling to your pubic bone moving back to your tailbone. So you create the kunda at the base of your pelvic floor. So your mula bandha, your pelvic floor lifts up. And then it protects the whole of your lower back. It contains the energy in your cylinder of your torso. Draw the arms more up and back. That's it. And then exhale, release the belt. And then just have a quick look at the camera. So we're going to do dog stretch on the floor, just free from the wall to start. So first one, index fingers just facing forward. So that's going to be the first hand position. Second hand position, we're going to start opening the wrists and we're going to take the hands out to the side. Third one, we're going to turn the hands in. And then the final one, we're going to turn the hands that way. So please only come up into your dog stretch if it feels appropriate. Otherwise, you stay on your hands and your knees. Okay, come and stand onto your mat. Be a little bit, your back can be at the wall, but just you be free from the wall. And then place your hands onto your mat. Index fingers facing directly forward. All your other fingers spread wide. And I would suggest the hands slightly wider than your shoulders. And then from there, when you're ready, tuck your toes under and come into your dog stretch. So for those of you with more open hamstrings, walk your feet back a tiny little bit so that you really have to stretch your calves to get your heels down. And then again, bring your attention to your hands and your arms. Press down, especially through the thumb and index finger side of your hand. So your forearms is a slight internal rotation. And hit your forearms out. And now external rotation in the upper arm. So your inner upper arm area rolls up and out, and hug your outer upper arms in. See if you can find those actions and see if you can feel the subtle nuance of how the shoulder blades become stable and the upper trapezius area releases. Soften your throat and notice the gunas as we go through it. How's the mind feeling? How's the breath feeling? How's the body feeling? And then from there, slowly drop down onto your knees. And now turn your hands to face outward. So your fingers are facing out to the side. And when you start, your hands are about 45 degrees in front of the shoulders. And if you're going to stay on your knees, then you lean your body weight forward so that your shoulders come above the wrists. If you're going to go up into your dog stretch, then tuck your toes under and come into dog stretch. And just see how that feels. So you're subtly starting to open up the wrists. Keep the hands spread wide. It's just like an exploration. Okay, how does it feel to do a dog stretch in that way? Then drop down onto your knees. And now turn your hands to face inward. So now it's starting to get a little bit progressively more active. So just see how that feels when you're standing on your hands and your knees. If you are going into a dog stretch, your hands are about 45 degrees in front of your shoulders, and then tuck your toes under and go for it and just explore it. For some of you, this is new. For some of you, you've done it with me quite a number of times. Just explore, keeping the hands wide. Just an experience moving through you in this moment. Nice, you're in Marilla, nice. And then come down onto your knees. And now this is the funky one, okay? Be cautious with it. You're going to turn your hands out and around so that the fingers are now facing towards your knees. Fingers spread wide, nice wrist opener. And for those of you that already feel it strong, you just stay on your hands and your knees. If it feels appropriate, then go into your dog stretch. But please take the variation that works for your body right now. And again, it's just an exploration. Nice, Lisa, that's it. Yeah. Nice, Greggy. And then exhale, release, and come to sit on your heels and just give your wrists a roll one way, and then give your wrists a roll back the other way. And we're going to do a core connection. Just observe the screen. So again, you'll be away from your wall, but keep your mat where it is. First one, block. You're going to squeeze it between your inner groins. So holding the sticky mat so you get that upper buttock length. And then squeezing the block to the foot end of your mat. More open hamstrings. You can keep your legs straight if you would like to. Otherwise, your shins parallel to the floor. Hands interlocked behind and we'll hold. Second one, after that, we'll rest for a moment. The second one after that, shin bones parallel, lifting up, and then one leg to hover forward, that same arm to cross over. And we'll do that a number of rounds, and then again, just relaxing in the psoas neutral position. Okay, come and lie down, take a block. And first just lie down on your back, let your lower back settle into the floor. And then take your block or a book or whatever you've got available, bring it in between your thighs, high up into your inner groins. And you want to squeeze that block with your thighs in the direction of the foot end of your mat. Bring your shins parallel to the floor. If your hamstrings are open and you would like to challenge yourself, then you can straighten your legs up and push into the balls of your feet so that the front and the back of your legs are active. Now take hold of your sticky mat and pull your sticky mat towards the foot end of your mat so you get that sliding of the upper buttocks down. And then interlock your hands behind your head and lift up your chest towards your thighs. Make sure you're holding your head fully with your hands, so you're not stressing your neck out at all. Elbows drawing forward. And now you're simply holding it, and you are squeezing that block to the foot end of your mat, and broadly spread your abdomen back to your lower spine. So this hollowness in the abdominal area, also very important. It's almost like a suction action. And you get a similar kind of feeling when you draw your tailbone to your pubic bone to your tailbone. Explore the subtle nuance of that. Few more moments. See if you can lift your shoulders off the earth and just squeeze that block and find your own inner connection. Hi, Jane. And then from there, gently release. Come down onto the floor. Remove your block. And now we're going to go to the second core exercise, but just give yourself a little bit of a rest here. Okay, take hold of your sticky mat and just lengthen your upper buttock area. Bring your shins parallel to the floor. Lift your chest up, your shoulder blades off the floor. Interlock your hands again behind your head. So you want to hold your head so that your neck is not stressed. Keep your thighs perpendicular to the floor. So your chest has to lift towards your thighs. Your thighs are not coming to your chest. And then inhale, curl your tailbone up. On the exhalation, hover your right leg forward and take your right arm across to the outside of your left thigh. Hands behind your head. Inhale, curl up in the center. Exhale, left leg, hover it forward. Left arm across to the outside of the right thigh. Bring your left knee up, left hand behind your head. Inhale, curl up to lift. Exhale, right leg hovering forward, right arm across. Knees together, hands behind your head. Inhale, lift up in the center. Exhale, left leg hover it forward, left arm across to the right side. Inhale, slow it down, lift up in the center, slow it down and you're feeling it. Don't rush. Exhale, right leg hovers, right arm across. That's it. The slower you do it, the more you get into it. Hands behind your head, bring your right knee up, curl up. Exhale, left leg, hover it forward, left arm across to the outside of the right thigh. Breathe. Hands behind your head, inhale, curl up in the center, lift up, last round. Exhale, right leg, hover it forward, right arm across, slow it down. Breathe. Hands behind your head, inhale, knees together, curl up. Exhale, left leg, hover it forward, left arm across to the outside of the right thigh, hold. Inhale, in the center, knees up, lift up, one last little lift, and then exhale, relax, feet down, relax your arms, and just completely soften, surrender. Let's take a moment there, feet hip distance apart, just your breath spacious, free. Okay, and I think we're ready for the arm balances. Roll, reach one arm up, roll your body to the side. And then press your hands down and come up to seated. Okay, so we're going to start. I'm going to show you the first two. If anyone's dealing with a shoulder niggle that comes up as we go through it, please just, you're going to stay in a lunge. And again, if you need a different variation than what I'm offering, let me know. So the first two rounds I'm going to demonstrate. We're going to start with a downward facing dog at the wall with the heels on the wall. So that this is also such a nice way of plugging the femurs in, and you get that hollow connection that you just felt in the abdomen when you hear. Then from there, right leg is going to step forward. The left heel is against the wall right now. If you find, I don't know what happened, oh, my other block is there. Some of you might want to be on your blocks here. And the one variation is just to stay in a lunge and work with it's essentially the frontal hip bones drawing in and the abdomen sucking up. You could either stay there, Or the first variation, the second variation would be, this is a bit of a cheat, but it works so well. Instead of having the wrist directly underneath the shoulder, having the wrist a little bit forward of the shoulder, much easier to balance. And then here's all of those actions: thumb pressing down, external rotation, forearm out, upper arm in to stabilize. And then coming onto the little toe side of the foot is on the floor, my sole of my foot is against the wall, and then lifting up. So one of those two will be the first variation. Okay, you can choose either here or there. And then we're going to go back to dog stretch. Second round, you're going to step, those of you going further, the right foot on top of the left foot, and then being here. Okay, those are the first two rounds. And I'll demonstrate the rest as we go on. So come to stand onto your hands and your knees with your toes tucked under, nice reflexology, your heels onto the wall and your feet hip distance apart. Index fingers facing forward for today, so there's space in the shoulders, and then come up into your dog stretch. So it's like you're wearing high heel shoes. Your balls of your feet are against the wall, your feet are hip distance apart. And then feel how that brings the femur bones, because your heels are lifted, feel how it brings the femur bones into the hips and how you get that suction action of your lower abdominal area. Though if any one of you are menstruating, don't overdo that action, but if not, then really suck it up. And now from here, using that core connection that we just cultivated, and bring your right knee floated in towards your chest, slow motion, step your foot forward into a lunge. If you need to, you can bring your hands onto blocks, otherwise be on your fingertips, and draw your outer right hip back and your outer left hip forward. So those of you menstruating, or you feel that you just want to work here for the first round, we're going to do a lot of rounds. So just see how you feel. You can either stay there or bring your left hand slightly in front of your left shoulder down onto the floor. Check the thumb and index finger side of your hand is rooted, external rotation on the upper arm. And then turn the little toe side of your left foot flat onto the floor, the whole sole of the foot against the wall, and walk your right foot into the center of your mat. Reach your right arm above your left arm. Tailbone to pubic bone to tailbone, so you get the connection in the pelvis, and then lift your hips up. Or you staying in your lunge, just see what works for your body. Now on that left arm, hit the forearm out, hug the outer upper arm in, and feel how it stabilizes the shoulder joint. And then from there, exhale, slowly bring your hands down. Turn your left heel up and step back into dog stretch, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Now bring your left knee to your chest, so you hollow, float the foot forward, coming to your lunge, either on your fingertips or you're using your blocks. Outer left hip drawn back, outer right hip drawn forward. The frontal hip bones drawing in towards each other, the abdomen softening back and up. And then again, if you did it on the other side, you're just going to stay here. Otherwise, bring your right hand a little bit in front of your right shoulder, spreading the palm wide. Thumb and index finger side of the hand down, external rotation of the upper arm. And then little toe side of your right foot onto the floor, the sole of your foot against the wall. Left foot step it into the midline of your mat. Reach your left arm up. Compact your hips and lift them up. So that's tailbone to pubic bone action. And now on that right arm, hit the forearm out and hug the outer upper arm in, and see if you can find that stability in your shoulder joint. That's it. And then from there, very slowly bringing the left hand down, turn your right heel up, step back onto the wall, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Take a short little pause in Adho Mukha Virasana. So just drop your knees down. Let your forearms relax, let your forehead soften. Remember, at any point you can come into this resting pose if you need it. And then once again, coming back up into your dog stretch, heels onto the wall, feet hip distance apart. Now we're going to go for the second variation. So draw your right knee into your chest, hollow your abdomen, float your foot forward, coming into a lunge. So you're either staying in the lunge, or you're going for the second variation where you put your left hand slightly in front of the left shoulder, little toe side of the foot onto the floor, sole of the foot is pushing into the wall. So your brain is in that foot. Right foot to the center of your mat, you either stay here, or third variation, you're going to step the right foot on top of the left foot, compact your hips, lift up, keep your head in line with your spine, and I'll bring that left forearm out, hug that left upper arm in. So from there, slowly bringing your right hand down, heels up the wall, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Oh, very nice, everyone. And now bring your left knee to your chest. So you float forward, coming into the lunge. So remember, at any point, you can just go into the lunge variation. Otherwise, those of you progressing, your right hand will be slightly forward of your right shoulder, little toe side of the right foot onto the floor. The whole sole of the foot is connected to the wall. That's the brain of your posture. First variation here, you step the left foot to the center of the mat. Those of you going further, left foot on top of the right foot. Push both feet into the wall and compact your hips and lift them up. Keep your neck in line with your spine as you lift up. And on that right arm, hit the forearm out, hug the outer upper arm in. Your beautiful stability, exploring. And then exhale, bringing the left hand down, back into your dog stretch, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then from there, relax, Adho Mukha Virasana. And then not to rest for too long. You slowly roll yourself up and come and have a look at the camera. Okay, is everybody still good? If anyone's feeling that they're getting really tired, just give me a wave, because then I'll give you something else to do. So you can either repeat and work on one of those stages, whatever you feel is appropriate for your body. Those of you now wanting to progress further, we're going to start floating a little bit. So, and this is how it's going to look, the next stage. So stage 1, 2, 3, 3 is feet together. But now 4, and watch out for your knees here. If anybody's got knee niggles, then this variation is not for you. So the last variation, the foot is going to go completely flat. See that foot is flat, just like this foot, but pushing into the wall. And I'm going to start with my knees bent. And then from there, I'm floating this right leg up. And as I float this right leg up, I'm pushing my big toe into the wall, that juncture between the wall and the floor. And then maybe catching the big toe, maybe you just float there. Or maybe you take your first 2 fingers and your thumb around the foot. And now, see, everything is bent for now. And then you start straightening out and looking up. So you can play with it. Let the brain of the posture be in that back foot. Okay, otherwise you'll just still be bending, you'll still be building your strength, and that's also perfect. So come to stand with your hands onto your mat, your feet against the wall, toes tucked under. And then come up into your dog stretch. So you could also stay here and just work on those arm actions of the forearms hitting out, outer upper arms hugging in. Otherwise, bring your right knee towards your chest, float the foot forward. So you're working on that hollow connection of the abdomen. Either stay in your lunge, or you're going to balance your left hand slightly forward of your left shoulder, turn onto the outer edge of your left foot, and then step your right foot first to the middle of your mat. And maybe you stay here.
the right arm up. Otherwise, those of you going further, right foot on top of the left. Those of you going for the full variation of the pose, for a moment, step your right foot in front of your left shin. Flatten your left foot completely onto the floor. The big toe wall mount is in that ledge between the floor and the wall. And then hover your right knee above your left knee. Both knees are bent. Stabilize your left arm, hit the forearm out, outer upper arm in. And then maybe some of you can catch your right big toe with your first two fingers and your thumb. And maybe you float your leg up from there. Once you float up, then you straighten your legs out. Otherwise, you're just hovering there. Yeah, beautiful. Nice, guys. Take a moment to be there. Nice, Jill. That's it. Kari, look up. Look up, Kari. Look up to, yes, that's it. Lift everything up. Okay, slowly, in your own way, come down, back into your dog stretch. If you need to take a little rest in Adho Mukha Virasana, then go for it. And then coming back into Adho Mukha Svanasana with your heels onto the wall. It's definitely going to build the strength. Okay. So forearms hitting out, outer upper arms in. Left knee floated towards your chest, slowly coming forward into the lunge. Again, if you want to take a round out, then you do that. You can just stay in your lunge. Otherwise, right hand slightly forward of the right shoulder, outer edge of that right foot down, and then walk your left foot to the midline first. Those of you going further, left foot on top of the right. Those of you going further, step your left foot in front of your right shin, flatten the right foot onto the floor, just the big toe side of the foot in that juncture between the wall and the floor. Keep everything bent, float your left knee above your right knee, and then from there, maybe some of you will catch the big toe, and then floating up. Right arm, hit the forearm out, hug the outer upper arm in. Find that stability. Nice, Lise, that's it. Compact your hips. Kari, look up, lift up. Nice. Okay, slowly coming back into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Rest in Adho Mukha Virasana. Just letting go for a moment. Let go completely. And then we're going to take a slight little interlude here, and then we'll get back to business. Slowly roll up, and I'm going to give you two options here, okay? Is everybody still okay? We're building to this full moon conjunct Uranus. Lisa will know what I'm talking about. It's a powerful energy. Okay, so those of you with open hamstrings that can easily get your hands onto the floor, this is going to be your option. I'm going to get my block. So open hamstrings today in this moment. What you're going to do is you're going to have your feet wide, walk close into your wall. Okay, if you don't have a proper wall, you can just come into a normal Uttanasana. But it's quite nice to get the shoulders down and then straighten the legs and hang out here. Those of you with less open hamstrings, what I would suggest is resting your buttocks against the wall, feet a little bit away from the wall, and your hands onto your blocks. If you don't have this kind of wall space, then you can just come into a normal Uttanasana with your feet hip distance apart. So one of those options, whatever suits your body. Those of you going for the full variation against the wall, you've got to bend your knees as you walk your feet closer and bring your head down as far close to the floor as you can, and then lean into the wall so that there's a slight line into the wall so that you get that nice space in the shoulders. If anybody needs to see again an option, then let me know. So you want to feel that your body is completely releasing here. Magda, bring your feet wider. Yeah, that's better. Oh, no, yeah, that's perfect. Yes, good. Arms out to the side. Those of you with your hands against the wall, let your arms stretch wide. Make sure that the spine is long. If you find your upper back rounding, then rather for now bend your knees a little bit. That's it. Let your shoulders relax, most importantly. And again, just seeing how you're feeling, observing, breathing, being. Might be that through the stronger postures, a more rajasic state has come up. And now can you just soothe it again? And then from there, those of you at the wall, you have to walk back a little bit. You've got to reverse. Everybody else slowly come up and come up to standing. Okay, so we're going to move into now playing with this transition from Vashishtasana to Trikonasana. And I'm inviting you to bring your mat now away from the wall in whatever orientation you want so that you can see the screen, because I'll demonstrate while we go through it as well, just the first round, and then the second round you can go on your own. Those of you that need to clock off, now is probably a good time to come into your Shavasana if that's the moment that you need to go. Otherwise, if you can continue, then just come a little closer to observe. So we'll do a vinyasa with this, but if anybody feels, okay, I'd like to participate in the poses, but I don't want to flow, then you don't have to. And most of you are familiar with the way that I flow. I hope this is fitting in. But I'll just demonstrate for those of you that are new. So going into dog stretch, hands forward, you can either step or jump. So the landing is in dog stretch, so you can keep preserving your shoulders. Palakasana, you can either drop your knees or chaturanga. Here you can drop your pubic bone or full Urdhva Mukha. And then from here, so we're going to explore from here the postures. So bringing the feet together, okay, right leg going up, knee to your chest. So you get that core connection, floating the foot forward. Outer edge of your left foot to the floor. So again, you can stay in the lunge. You could just stay there, or you're going to bring the foot to the midline, or you're going to bring the feet on top of each other, or you're going to bend your knees. Just get the right distance going. And then again, you're going to float up, those of you going for the full variation of the posture. Whatever variation you're in, hollowing core connection, hand down. I like to go on the fingertips. And then stepping the foot forward. Now that back foot's got to keep on rotating, because I'm going to take it into Trikonasana, slowly from the ground up. So it's like making a full circle. And then coming down, and we'll flow from there, or you can just rest in your child's pose, however your body feels in the moment. Okay, so those of you feeling to flow, you'll stand at the front of your mat. Those of you just feeling to rest and do it in a restful way, you can come into Adho Mukha Virasana. Those of you standing at the front of your mat, bring your palms of your hands together and just close your eyes for a moment. Just feeling again how you're feeling. And then inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale here to open your collarbones. Make sure your hands are flat, a little bit forward of your feet. Lean your body weight into your hands and then either step or jump. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Land there for a moment. Draw up your thighs. Inhale like a wave. Come forward into plank. Exhale, drop your knees or chaturanga, elbows back. Inhale, chest forward and up. You can drop your pubic bone if you need to. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Feet together at the back of your mat. Keep your thumb and index finger side of your hand rooted. The external rotation of your upper arms. Inhale, take your right leg up to the sky. Keep your hips compact, tailbone to pubic bone. Hollow your abdomen, bring your knee to your chest, look forward. Float your right foot forward. Pause. Maybe you stay here on your fingertips or use your blocks for this lunge. Those of you going further, left hand in front of the left shoulder. Come onto the outer edge of your left foot. Step your right foot to the center line of your mat. You just got to get your distance right here. Maybe stepping the right foot on top of the left foot. Maybe flattening the left foot down, holding onto your big toe, and then floating that right leg up. Find the variation that works for you. Pause for a moment. Now, hug your hip bones in towards each other, and then slowly bring that right knee to your chest, bring the right fingertips down, step your right foot forward. So you're in a lunge again. Now, spin your left foot down so that the big toe side of the foot is now facing the right heel. Hip bones facing over that right leg. Slowly, slowly begin to straighten that right leg out. Hip bones keep facing the right leg. Left arm comes up and your chest follows that left hand into Trikonasana. So it's like you're flowering open into your triangle pose. Moving consciously into your Trikonasana. Do all the actions that you need to take care of that we've integrated before. So it's like now it becomes your self-practice. Exhale, windmill your hands down, step back into dog stretch, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then decide, do you need to rest or do you want to take a flow in your own rhythm? And then you're welcome to do that. So really it's becoming now your own integration. And we'll meet in dog stretch. So you feel what is it that nourishes you right now? What balances your energy? And then feet together. So inhale, reach your left leg up to the sky. You can even come onto the ball of that right foot to get a little lift. And then bring your left knee into your chest, look forward, float your left foot forward. Either stay in your lunge if you did it on the other side, or your right hand slightly forward of your right shoulder, outer edge of that right foot onto the floor, left foot to the midline. Some of you might stay there. Some of you are going to stack the left foot on top of the right. Some of you are going to flatten that right foot and then catch the big toe of that left foot and float up. Just see where the posture meets you. Hit the right forearm out, outer upper arm in, find the stability. So again, it's your own practice now. You're finding what works for you. Hip bones, draw them in towards each other. Suck your abdomen back and up. And then very slowly from wherever you are, draw your left knee to your chest, bring the left fingertips down. Step forward again into a lunge with that left foot. Now you've got to keep on turning. And keep turning, bring your right big toe side of your foot to face your left heel. Frontal hip bones facing that left leg. Bring your left hand onto your shin and then slowly from there, bringing the right arm up. Turn your abdomen and your chest up towards that right arm. Again, you finding your own integrity in your expression. Breathing into it's like really your own intelligence. Exhale, windmill your hands down. Come back into a dog stretch. Either take rest in Adho Mukha Virasana, or if you're feeling stronger, then go for a flow. So again, you feel what nourishes you in this moment. What do you need? Nice, you're in, that's it. Yeah. And then we'll meet in Adho Mukha Virasana, taking rest. And I was hoping for those of you feeling really strong that there would be time for a second round, but it looks like we need to start chilling out. I think some people are going to be happy about that. So just take a little rest in your Adho Mukha Virasana. But we'll get back to it a second time. And also there is a recording for those of you that want to play with it more so that you can revise it. And now we're going to start chilling out a bit. So from here, roll yourself up and then just come and have a look at the camera. So first we're going to do a little bit of spinal release and a little bit of shoulder release. And then we're going to progress from there. But those of you with tighter hamstrings, you're welcome to keep your knees bent. This is more about actually releasing the spine and especially this tight area between the shoulder blades. So we're going to go backwards and forwards. If your hamstrings are very tight and you'd like to go into a fuller variation, what you can do is you can put a chair behind you if you wanted to for your legs. So you could do that. But otherwise, you're also welcome to float. So it's going to look like this. So I'm going to take the chair away, but you can visualize your chair if you need it. So keeping the head and the neck in a straight line, very important. And then the inhalation, you're going to stretch up. So each inhalation, you opening up. Each exhalation, you folding. So folding forward. Those of you with tight hamstrings, rather bend your knees so that you're able to round your back. Not good to round the back when the hamstrings are stretching unless your body's very open. And then inhale, reach your arms up. So again, there's an inhalation here. Exhalation, arms are going over your head. So if you can't get your feet to the floor, you can either float or you can put your feet on a chair or onto the floor. Inhale, reaching up, exhale, forward. And we're just going to go backwards and forwards. I'll talk you through 3 rounds and then you can find your own rhythm. So come and sit at one end of your mat. Obviously, make sure that you've got space in front of you and you've got space behind you also. Keep your head and your neck in line with your spine. Tadasana. And then inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, arms over your head, legs over your head, neck straight. Inhale to reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, legs and arms over your head. Keep your neck straight. Inhale, come up, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. And I'll continue like that. In your own breath rhythm. And if you find that you would like to hold one of the shapes a little bit longer, then you're welcome to do that. So feel what feels appropriate. And make sure that you take your arms over your head because that gets to a very different area of the shoulders. So it really gets into that area between the shoulder blades, which is really the area that becomes very tight for many of us. So that's how you hit that area, is when the arms stay over the head. And it doesn't matter if the feet touches or not. You can also just float. And then complete the round that you're on and do at least 2 more rounds. And then we'll finally meet in a seated forward fold, but take your time to get there. Okay. And once you've completed your last round, then just coming up to seated and have a look towards the camera. So we're going to finish off, and I'd like to demonstrate all of it right now so that I don't have to interrupt you. one blanket folded in a nice thick square. Okay, this is going to be for your Shavasana. Your second blanket is going to come either over your body or under your head. This is for much later, but you want to prepare that. Okay, that's going next to you. And then we're going to come into a Setu Bandha sort of shoulder stand variation. And the options are as follows. Just have a look. So you're going to come to lie down with your knees bent in this way. First, one cross block. So if your lower back's feeling a bit sensitive, then you just stay on one cross block. Second variation, two cross blocks, and it's under the sacrum and supporting part of your tailbone. Those of you feeling you would like to go into a stronger variation, you're going to bring both blocks upright, but next to each other so that both sides of your sacrum are supported, okay? And then we'll stay here for some time and just make sure that your blocks are stable if you're taking them in the upright position. And then we'll stay here for some time. Those of you feeling to go further, this is where you need to make sure that your blocks are very stable, sacrum rooted, and then you can bring your legs up to float a little bit. So it's like a shoulder stand variation. And then we'll bring the legs down, and then we'll all meet on one block, and we'll finish off with a twist here. Okay, I'll talk you through all of it. And then you're going to take this nice thick blanket, and for your Shavasana, bringing that blanket onto your forehead, softening the frontal lobes of your brain, obviously keeping your nose and your mouth open. And your other blanket can either be over your body or under your head. If you've got a lower back sensitivity, you can take your blocks behind the backs of your thighs. Okay. So prepare your blanket, come and lie down, have your blocks close by. Knees bent for now, outer edges of your feet square, and just let your sacral and your lower abdominal area settle into the floor. Put your warm stuff on if you're getting cooler. Okay, and palms of your hands down beside your body. Press your hands into the floor, and from your middle buttock area, lift your pelvis up to the sky. Take your blocks in whichever manner you're going to set them up. So either one flat cross block over the sacral area, or a second block on top, or those of you going into the full variation, two blocks next to each other, very, very closely connected and upright. And the reason why we use two blocks is that if we use only one block upright, it's not so good for the sacral area. You need the whole of the sacrum to be supported and not just pushing into the middle of the sacrum, but to have the left and the right side equally supported. And have the blocks a little bit more towards the tailbone side of the buttock so that you get that length in the upper buttock area. Those of you using two blocks connected, make sure that they're together and they're stable. Palms of your hands turning up, and tuck your middle edges of your shoulder blades into your back. Externally rotate your upper arms, collarbones open, throat soft. Taryn, drop your heels down, and if it feels like that's a bit too high, then you can turn your blocks lower down. So those of you feeling to go a little further, make sure that your blocks under your sacrum is very secure. And then if you would like to float your legs up, you can do that. The higher you are, the lighter the legs will be. Make sure that your sacral area is still rooting on the blocks though. So don't let the sacrum come off, because then the blocks are going to slide out. So you just got to float very lightly with control. That's it. Yes. So it's like kind of a shoulder stand variation. And, you know, if there's any nervousness about your blocks, you can hold your blocks with your hands. So it's just to get used to the feeling. And the legs should feel light if the blocks are high enough. That's it, Luca, yeah. Just getting into the feeling. You can also keep your knees bent if your hamstrings are a little tighter. And still with the legs up like this, there's still the lymph draining that you get. Bring your blocks a little bit higher up, Ilanya, so that you can keep them rooted down. Again, observing, feeling what gunas are present now in what parts of the body. The same applies as in shoulder stand, front thighs to back thighs. And then those of you that do have your legs up, very, very gently stepping 1 foot at a time down onto the floor. Come back into Setu Bandha. Now, if you are on one flat block, you'll stay there. Everybody else, if you higher up, first of all, lift your pelvis up. So from your middle buttocks, and keep your pelvis up. So you activate the muscles, hold your pelvis up and turn one block onto its flat side, and then very slowly lower your pelvis down so that your sacrum rests on that one flat block. Once again, from the middle buttocks, lift the pelvis as high as you can up. Very important to get the reactivation of the muscles here. And then remove your final block and very slowly let your pelvis settle onto the floor. Now hug your knees into your chest. So holding on to both your shin bones, draw your shin bones closer to your upper body. And then hold on to your right knee and stretch your left leg away from your upper body. Let your left leg rest onto the floor. Bring your right arm out to the right side. And then with your left hand, take that right leg all the way across to your left side. So pin the knee down and then draw the shoulder blade down. Slightly stronger variation. Right palm of the hand facing up. Just keep your head in neutral for today. Still observing the gunas that are present. And then slowly come back to the center. Hug both your knees into your chest. Continue to hold on to your left knee and then straighten your right leg onto the floor. Left arm out to the left side, and then with your right hand take that left knee across and pin it down. So you dare to go over a little bit more, even if the left shoulder blade lifts, and then you work that left shoulder blade down. You get a deeper cross stretch. Now come back to the center. Hug both your knees in. Just feel how your lower back is feeling. And if you need to, you can take your blocks behind the backs of your thighs, or you can take a big bolster or a pillow or something to rest the thighs over. Otherwise, you're going to lie flat for your Shavasana, but take your one blanket and bring it onto your forehead so that your eyes are covered. So it's almost like a big eye pillow, but it also gives a little bit of weight to the frontal lobes of your brain. And of course, if you need your other blanket for over your body, or you can use it as a pillow for underneath your head, whatever it is that you need. And lie yourself down in such a way that the body feels spacious and free. So that there's a release from the center outward to the periphery. And for the next few breaths, focus on your exhalation. And with each exhalation, just allowing more surrender into the earth. So it's like after the practice, we can really drop into that witnessing presence. Sometimes when we're in the action, we get quite involved. And now it's like, again, taking a step back and just becoming observing, dropping into that space in the background within which everything is unfolding. Allow your breath to become slightly fuller and deeper once again. Bend your elbows and bring your hands either to your abdomen or to your chest. And then bend your knees to step your feet onto the earth. Reach your right arm up beside your ear and roll your body onto your right side. Draw your knees towards your chest. And then press your hands down onto the earth and slowly come up to seated. Palms of your hands together at your heart, spine lifted, and your eyes soft, internally looking towards your heart space. And just taking another moment here to drop into that observing presence. Just that within which everything unfolds and that is untouched by the gunas, untouched by the beautiful creative play of life. Just that stillness. And thank you, everybody. Namaste. Thanks for your awesome presence and have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, wherever you are.